Hello and welcome back to Football Daily, where today we've got 10 predictions for the 2022-23 campaign just for you. These will almost definitely happen. Maybe. Let's get into it. 10. Brendan Rodgers to leave Leicester City. Make no mistake about it, Brendan Rodgers has been an excellent appointment by Leicester City. After a few meandering seasons following their 2015-16 title win, he arrived in February 2019 and created a side that reached the knockout stages of the Europa League, won the FA Cup and established the Foxes as a top 8 side. But there can be no disguising that 21-22 was incredibly disappointing, as a raft of injuries at the back and some underwhelming signings saw them finish 14 points back on the previous campaign. Having publicly criticised his players, saying that some simply weren't good enough, the Northern Irishman claimed his side needed a healthy shake-up this summer. But at the time of writing, they remain the only club in Europe's top 5 leagues yet to make a signing. Club captain Kasper Schmeichel has left for Nice, and there's plenty of speculation around star player James Maddison. With the club announcing pre-tax losses of over £33 million for 2021, it's clear that Rodgers has his hands tied. We wouldn't be surprised if his 3.5-year stint came to a conclusion in 22-23. 9. No 90-point season. Guardiola and Klopp have quite simply redefined what we thought was possible in English football. From the birth of the Premier League in 1992 to the time that both had arrived on these shores, only 6 out of a possible 24 title winners had hit 90 points. But in 6 of the 7 seasons since that tally has been breached, once by Conte in 16-17, and then by Pep in 3 of their 4 title wins, with Klopp punctuating that run in 2019-20. But we don't think that it will happen again this year, with Pep having lost crucial squad depth and quality in Sterling and Jesus, who contributed 34 league goals between them last term. Haaland and Alvarez will have their work cut out to top that, while Zinchenko's exit has left them short at left back. As promising as Darwin Núñez may be, we struggle to see him replicating Mane's 18 league goal contributions last term, while Liverpool's midfield will be another year older. We predict both sides to finish with between 85 and 89 points. Number 8. Inter Milan SCUDETTO winners. The 21-22 campaign saw defending champions Inter Milan fail to retain their Scudetto title, as rivals Milan won their first in 11 years on the back of an excellent defensive unit and some big performances in crucial moments. But it was also an incredibly unlikely triumph. Inter scored 15 more goals than their City rivals, a gap that should have been 23 according to expected goals, while expected points suggest that Inter should have finished 8 ahead. That's the largest gap by that metric between the top 2 in Italy since 2017-18, when the underlying numbers suggest that Napoli were unfortunate not to pip Juventus. Whilst Inter's finances are still largely shrouded in mystery, with The Athletic reporting earlier this summer that they still needed to make a €60 million profit, they've still had a positive window. Mkhitaryan and Onana provide depth and quality in key positions, and Serie A's 2021 MVP Romelu Lukaku returns to a league he's already dominated. Whilst we back Milan to follow up the signing of De Ketelaere with that much-needed right winger, we still make Inter slight favourites for Serie A next term, in what we expect to be a 3-horse race. 7. Bukayo Saka for Young Player of the Year. In many ways, Bukayo Saka was unlucky not to be crowned PFA Young Player of the Year in 21-22. Yes, Arsenal narrowly missed out on Champions League qualification, but he featured in every game and contributed to 11 goals and 7 assists. 3 more than eventual winner Phil Foden, who only made 28 appearances. The good news for Saka though, with the contenders all having to be 21 or younger on the 1st of July, 22-year-old Foden, the winner of the last 2 awards, is no longer eligible. And while Saka will no doubt face competition from the likes of Jacob Ramsey, Michael Elise and City new boy Erling Haaland, we think Saka is worth a gamble. Arsenal have a great chance of continuing their development this season after signing 3 players in Jesus, Zinchenko and Vieira that should allow them to sustain their challenge in the event key players get injured, something that undermined them last term. Last season saw Saka average over 0.5 expected goals and assists per 90, up 0.1 on the previous campaign. Replicate that improvement and he'll be impossible to ignore. 6. Monaco to make the Champions League knockouts. Potentially our boldest shout, given the fact there's a chance Monaco don't even make the Champions League group stages, having drawn the first leg of their playoff against Ruud van Nistelrooy's PSV. However, if they do creep through, we're backing Philippe Clement's side to make their mark on this year's competition. History is certainly against them. Since their unlikely run to the semi-finals in 2016-17, they've only qualified for the group stages twice in 5 attempts, failing to make it out on both occasions. What's more, this summer saw their star midfielder Aurélien Tchouameni depart for Real Madrid. So, why exactly are we backing Les Monégasques? Firstly, Clement has had some excellent results in Europe in recent years with Club Brugge, beating Leipzig and securing credible draws against the likes of Real Madrid, Paris Saint-Germain and Lazio. Plus, Monaco's summer business has also been very encouraging, bringing in Taki Minamino and Breel Mbolo to bolster an already impressive roster of forwards. With the second leg yet to come in Eindhoven, this is clearly a shout where we could end up with egg on our face. But if they do make it, we think they'll impress. 5. Everton to go down. Everton fans won't need reminding that they finished the 21-22 campaign 4 points clear of relegation. And having lost 21 league games, the third worst record in the division, some would argue they were lucky to survive. As such, they needed a confidence boost this summer, but they're yet to find one. Last season's top scorer Richarlison, who was directly involved in 35% of their league goals, has understandably jumped at the opportunity to join Spurs. And with just days to go until their opening game against Chelsea, they've only managed to bring in Tarkowski, McNeil and Vinagre. Ruben Vinagre was nothing more than a bit part player at Sporting CP last term, racking up just 750 minutes, but McNeil and Tarkowski are proven Premier League players. So, why the concern? Goals. With Calvert-Lewin returning from a fractured toe that saw him miss 5 months of last term, relying solely on the Englishman is a dangerous game. And as for the supporting cast, Gray, Gordon, Townsend, Doucouré and Iwobi only managed 16 league goals between them last term. There might be 3 worse sides than the Toffees, but we couldn't say for sure. 4. Poch to the Prem. It's fair to say the 21-22 campaign didn't go as planned for Mauricio Pochettino. His first full campaign with a member of the European elite, he achieved the bare minimum by winning back Ligue 1. But having been backed with a raft of new stars, including the greatest of all time in Lionel Messi, to score 112 goals in all competitions, their lowest in 9 years, an exit at the UCL last 16 stage yet again, was a bitter disappointment. And so, for the second time in 3 years, Pochettino finds himself out of work at the start of a new season. But whilst in 2020 his name was constantly in the back pages, being linked to the likes of United, Juventus and Bayern, the noise around him this summer has been much quieter. If there's one place that Poch can rebuild his bruised reputation though, it's the Premier League. After making a name for himself at Southampton, leading them to 8th in 2013-14, 3 years after being in Ligue 1, the Argentine made the move to Spurs, guiding them to top 4 finishes in 5 years and a Champions League final. If things get sticky at Chelsea, Leicester, Newcastle or Everton this season, don't be surprised to see the lovable Argentine brought in for a shot at redemption. 3. Brazil to win the World Cup. Since the start of 2020, TT's Brazil have been virtually unstoppable. Since their World Cup qualifying campaign began in October 2020, they've played a grand total of 17 matches. Guess how many matches they've lost? That's right, a big fat 0. Not only that, they've notched up 40 goals in the process, 13 more than next best Argentina and Ecuador. But more remarkable still is their defensive prowess, conceding just 5 goals in reply. To put that into context, England only conceded 3 goals during their qualification campaign, but only played 10 matches. Their detractors will point to the defeat in the final of the 2021 Copa America, and yes, that was an aberration, but they were slightly unlucky. Playing in front of just 7,000 fans at the Maracanã, the Seleção had 59% of possession and created more than double the number of opportunities. Having only made it past the quarterfinals in one of the last 4 editions, the 5-time winners might seem like an odd bet, but the talent, competition for places and winning mentality make them difficult to ignore. We don't envy TT. It will be his job to choose between Edison and Alisson, Eder Militao and Thiago Silva, and Fabinho and Casemiro. Whilst up front he can call upon Neymar, Vinicius Jr, Gabriel Jesus and Richarlison. With fullback being the only concern, we wouldn't be surprised if Brazil won their first World Cup in 20 years in Qatar. 2. Benzema to outscore Lewandowski. Karim Benzema put in a quite spectacular 21-22 campaign. Goals in 5 consecutive Champions League knockout games, including back-to-back hat-tricks against PSG and Chelsea, not to mention 27 league goals and 12 assists, helped Real Madrid to their first League and European Cup double since 2016-17. This form made him overwhelming favourite for the 2022 Ballon d'Or, but his 44 strikes was still 6 fewer than Polish goal machine Robert Lewandowski, who's outscored him in the last 10 seasons. So why do we think it could happen this campaign? Well, for the first time in 12 years, Lewandowski will play outside of the Bundesliga, a division that averaged 3.1 goals per game last term, the most in Europe's top 5 leagues. Add to the fact he's joining a side in which only Ousmane Dembele averaged over 0.3 expected assists per 90 last term, versus 6 Bayern stars in 21-22, and it doesn't take a genius to work out that it's going to be difficult to score at the same rate. Put simply, this year, we're backing the guy who's familiar with the league and with his teammates. 1. Spurs to rule London. This one doesn't feel quite as bold given everything that has gone on this summer, but we're backing Spurs to finish as the best side in London this season. This of course feels risky with just under a month of the window to go, time that Chelsea's owner and current sporting director Todd Boehly will surely utilise to bring in further additions, with recent reports linking them with Frankie de Jong. But as it stands, we back the Lily-Whites to finish above them. With Antonio Conte at the helm, a manager who helped Inter Milan improve by 9 points in his second season with the club, who has been backed by no fewer than 6 new signings, including Richarlison, Bissouma and Perisic, whose 15 league goal contributions rank second for defenders in Europe's top 5 leagues behind Jonathan Klaus. We expect big things of Spurs this term. After a buoyant pre-season and some solid recruitments in Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus in particular, Arsenal fans are confident ahead of this season. But you have to go back 7 seasons to 2015-16 to find the last time they finished as London's number 1. This season, we think it might be a step too far, leaving Tottenham with the bragging rights. So team, that was our 10 predictions for 22-23, but what are yours? We want to know all about them, so stick them in the comments below. Like this video and subscribe to Football Daily with notifications on, and we'll catch you next time.